Hello, everyone. This is Tiffany Castleberry, and I had an actual thought that I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about this. I know I get on here, and sometimes I have no idea what's going on, and then other times I have a plan, and sometimes I even do research. Watch out. Just kidding. Okay. No, I mean, I do sometimes do research, but usually I don't. Usually it's off the cuff and whatever I feel like needs to be discussed. And that's kind of where we are today. Today, I want to talk about love and trauma. I know that sounds really heavy, and it's actually not. Or at least I don't think so. I don't plan on it to be. Let me put it that way. So, my thought process was that we, as in trauma survivors, are not great at love, typically, for ourselves, especially. So, kind of what I wanted to discuss was, well, I guess how bad we are at it, or I am. Anyways, so the thought process was that because of the things that we go through growing up, our environments, traumas, experiences, good, bad, ugly, all the in between, it doesn't really matter because everything has an effect of some sort. And for me, with, you know, being molested and sexually assaulted, sexually abused at such a young age, I know that that has hindered my view of certain things that are important in relationships, if you will. So, and I think it's also affected how well I open up to people or how bad I can be at intimacy, because I know that's been a struggle for me, especially in the past. It also affects the kind of people that we're drawn to, right? So, for example, because my abuse had started so young and it was sexual abuse, I was like 4 years old the first time. That played a massive part. And then being molested later on, and then being physically abused by a boyfriend in high school. All of those things have played a part in the kind of people that I won't say the people I prefer. I will say the people I thought I deserved for a period of time. And I hate saying that even because I think that it just makes me sad that at any point anyone believes that they deserve somebody that's going to disrespect them, somebody that's going to hurt them, somebody that is physically capable or willing, wanting to hurt them. And when I look back, because I'm at a wise, seasoned age to be able to look back, I can look back and be sad about some of the people that I gave my time to because they didn't deserve it. But I wasn't so sure back then about my worth or what I deserved or who I deserved. And so I had some really unsavory guys in my life at points. And I had some unfortunate experiences. And it had brought me to a point approximately 14 years ago that I stopped believing that I deserved to be happy. I didn't believe that I deserved love. I didn't believe that I really deserved a whole lot of any good in my life. And I know that I heard something actually from a sermon this morning, I think, but this week sometime, that said, you should not speak to yourself in a way that you would be willing to fight someone else that spoke to your best friend or someone you love, right? So if if I would be willing to get into a fight or have some kind of an altercation to defend and protect um, my best friend because somebody told them that, um, you're you're unworthy of love. Like you're a horrible person and you don't deserve to be happy. Like even just that, like I would never allow somebody to say that to my best friend. Like my best friend deserves all the happiness in the world. How dare you ever say that? And yet, that's what I believed for myself. And so that kind of stuck with me when I heard it because I was like, wow, that's spot on. We allow our we can just be absolutely atrocious to ourselves. We can be like there's a reason there's a saying that says we can be our own worst critics. We can absolutely just tear ourselves apart. Give no grace, no forgiveness, no compassion, no understanding to ourselves. But we're pretty good at doing that for the people that we love. Well, and vice versa, it should be that they would feel the same thing about us. Feel the same way, react the same. And anyway, so I got to thinking about all that. And then I watched a documentary a little earlier, and it was talking about love and trauma and the things that people had been through and the reason that they allowed certain things in their lives. And that's when it struck me. I was like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast on love and trauma because it amazes me the amount of work that I've done to get to where I am. And, there's the unfortunate side of being molested and sexually assaulted and physically abused at such a young age, such impressionable ages rather, and how that played into some of the people that I got involved with. And I can honestly say I was only in one abusive relationship, thank God. I mean, I wish that there was not one at all, but thankfully it was only one. And that wasn't something that I carried on. I think that was something that I learned from quickly, thankfully. I would say that the sexual trauma, and there's a difference in how those individuals operate. Somebody that will physically abuse you versus somebody that they both play into narcissist roles. They both play into power struggles. But there's a difference in how they operate to an extent. But that's neither here nor there. Um I did have, I mean, you could also make the argument that they're also the same people, and I just traded one issue for another. It's really a whole different discussion. But my boyfriend at the time, which I hate to even say, I hate to even acknowledge, um, when I was in the military and I was stationed overseas in Belgium, and he was actually a cop in a different branch, but didn't act like one. And I'd been told, well, I'd initially been set up with this individual, and I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't know. I just had some kind of a hesitation. And then I had started to hear some rumors about how the reason that his ex had left was because he had abused her. Um, and so, me being the stubborn individual that I am, I just asked him. I just said point blank, hey, I've heard this about you. So and so's trying to set me up with you. I'd rather just be honest from the get go. If you think you're going to put your hands on me, I'm not the person. I will beat you with a baseball bat. Because I was big and bad when I was 20. You guys, I'm 5'2.5", okay? I tell you that because I had a work trip a couple of weeks ago and I went somewhere and somebody thought that because they saw me on these videos, like, we were doing they're not Zoom, they were through Google, but these Zoom meetings all the time. And for some reason, I don't know how I sit on camera, but according to her, she thought that I was going to be like 5'9", 5'10". I wish I was taller. But anyways, I am 5'2.5". So I am not big and bad. I think that I'm capable of holding my own, but as far as most people would not walk up to me and look at me at 5'2.5" and be like, wow, you're really intimidating. um, so which was also part of the reason that I probably told him that I would beat him with a baseball bat instead of with my own hands, because I clearly would need something to utilize. Anyways, I got on a side note. But of course, he claimed that he didn't. And we had gone to a club one night, and we had both had stuff to drink. I probably only had a couple of drinks, and he kept drinking a lot of Jack and Coke, if I remember correctly. And when we got back to his room, we started watching, of all the movies, we started watching How to Kill a Mockingbird. And in the beginning, there's a rape scene. And about the same time that was occurring is when it started happening to me. And that wasn't one of the rumors that I'd heard. So that wasn't something I anticipated. And I fought. Excuse me. I fought very hard. He was just about blackout drunk. And I fought really hard. We'll just put it that way. I fought really hard. I didn't completely lose, but I didn't completely win. And I had destroyed his room trying to get away. And I finally got out. He passed out. And I left. And he called me the next day and said, "Hey, my room is an absolute mess. What happened last night? Blah, blah, blah." Needless to say, it followed up with, these are all the things that happen. It's absolutely not appropriate. Anyways, there was a whole big long thing, but at the end, he asked me, which was very telling. Remember, he had denied that he had ever done anything to his ex-wife. But at the very end, he asked me, "Did I put my hands on you? Did I hit you?" Not in the way you're asking, was my response. Because I think it caught me off guard that he had denied the allegation, but clearly it wasn't entirely false. Otherwise, he never would have questioned that, if you will. Needless to say, there was a whole lot of stuff that came out of that. But nonetheless, that was a horrible introduction to adulthood. I was 20 and 19, 20. Yeah, I was 20 when I was over there. And that really put me in a spiral. I don't think I was very sober much after that. And I definitely did not do well in the aftermath of all of that. And because people had treated me in such a horrible way, and he was not the only one. And since it had happened when I was a child, like a toddler, and again now as an adult, did I deserve this? Like that's what I started to ask myself. Is this what I deserve? Do I not deserve to be happy? Do I not deserve to be respected? Do I not deserve love? Like real true love? Like do I not deserve any of these good things? And I really spiraled horribly. And then I started to believe, which was a struggle. It was an internal struggle in my mind, actually, because there were times that I would believe maybe I'm only good for that. Maybe I'm only good for my body. Maybe that's all anybody wants me for. And then I would have a thought like that. And then I would also have a follow up thought of, Tiffany, that's ridiculous. Nobody should feel that way. That's a horrible outlook. But there's a lot of people out here that have that theory because that's how they've been treated. And so for many years, I wasn't sure that I deserved to be loved, that I deserved to be happy. And then, go forward, what, not even 10 years. I have 2 failed marriages, and my dad was gone. And I had the one person that I had leaned on and trusted in anything that he would have told me. I didn't have that person anymore. And while I had people in my life that loved me and that I loved and that wanted the best for me, and for all intents and purposes didn't, lie to me. I'm sure they've probably told me a lie at some point, um but my dad, I believed wholeheartedly. Like I never questioned what my dad would tell me. So if my dad told me, you deserve love, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to have a wonderful life, I believed him. But if anybody else told me that, I didn't believe them. I'm like, they're lying. They don't know any better. Blah, 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 whatever. I could make up any kind of story to not believe them. But my dad, I would have believed for anything. And so he was gone. So I didn't have a man to tell me. I didn't have that man, the quintessential man in my life, to tell me that I deserve to be happy, that I deserve to be loved and respected and cherished and all of these things. And so I spiraled again and was drinking again and was begging God to end my life. And I just, I didn't know how to get out of my trauma because I had to deal with all of it at once. And I've mentioned this in previous podcasts that when my dad died, there was no hiding from anything anymore. There was no stuffing it down and pretending it didn't matter or it didn't occur or whatever. My dad died, and everything, every single tragedy, trauma, loss, you know, violation, all of it had just come to the surface. And I was having to deal with all of this and try to, for lack of a better description, just tread water until I could make some kind of sense of everything. And so I had to go to counseling, and I had to get a hold, some kind of a grasp on the trauma and how it was affecting me, and the thoughts that I was having and all of these things, because my logical mind told me that I was lying to myself, right? So I could know that telling myself I don't deserve to be happy. um I've had 2 failed marriages. I don't deserve to have another relationship. I'm a horrible person, and just all of these things. But I knew, Tiffany, that's not true. Like, you do deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. Everyone deserves, actual real love. And it was a struggle. And it still is some days. Some days I can have, I posted not too long ago, actually a couple days ago this week, that I was struggling with some insecurities just because, I don't know, God really knows, or not God, Satan really knows when to just kind of hit me, like when I'm just in the right mood for him to kind of dig in just a little bit. Well, that was this week. I was trying to sleep and I couldn't sleep, and oh, sleep is my best friend. I love sleep. It calms me. It recharges me, especially as an introvert. Like, I recharge when I'm sleeping, and it's glorious, and I could not sleep. In fact, I didn't go to sleep until almost 2 o'clock that night. And so I was just laying there and just trying to figure out, how to stop my mind and slow it down and stop having all these thoughts. And oh my goodness, it was just, it was not good. But my point of telling you that is because God is really good at calming me down. And so I can pray and things usually calm down and things usually get better. But this night it just felt like it was like having the angel and the devil on my shoulder, but like in my ear. and and Satan was just trying to remind me, Tiffany, you're invisible. Nobody cares about you. You're not even allowed to post on a church site. That's kind of the thing that started it. I'm part of a group on Facebook that's the I don't want to say too much because on the off chance somebody's watching. Anyways, I'm part of a group on Facebook that's from my church, and I've tried to make several posts, and they have admins, and the admins have to approve the posts and whatnot. I've tried to make probably 4 or 5 posts, and none of them have been approved. None. And people have made similar posts to what I have, and I haven't said anything that's inappropriate. And so, anyways, for some reason, it popped in. Well, because the devil is horrible, and it popped into my mind, and all I could think was, even church doesn't love you. Even church doesn't want to have anything to do with you. They won't even allow you to post on their page. Now, my logical mind says, Tiffany, that's ridiculous. There's just some weird thing going on, I guess. I can't make sense of it, to be honest with you guys. I haven't been denied or removed because I haven't done anything wrong, but I also haven't been allowed to post. So I really have no explanation across the board. And so while I know this is just his way of getting to me and getting into my head, and I was trying really hard not to allow it, so I just kept praying, and I was just like, God, I need that thought out of my head, because that has been a hot button item for me. Being invisible, people not noticing me, not like in a sense of I need to be the center of attention, but just a simple thing like not even being able to post in a group because an admin decides that it's not worthy, if you will, and I don't know why I allow it to bother me, but I think it leads into, you know, that one of one of eh, one of the things that I cannot seem to let go of, or I haven't been able to as of yet, and I'm still trying, is I'm already getting emotional. Nobody has fought for me in my life. Nobody has fought to keep me in their life. Now, my dad would have fought anybody to save me, to keep me, for anything. But as far as relationships go, friendships go, no one has fought to keep me in their life. If I walked away, then I walked away and I would never hear from people again. In fact, I've done an experiment on it a couple of times and said, I'm the only one that reaches out in this friendship. Let me test this theory. If I don't reach out to this individual for, a month or whatever, will I hear from this individual? And the unfortunate part is that I don't. And that hurts, right? Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to have people in their life that love them and that would fight to keep them. There are people I've fought to keep in my life, and they know it. Um, but I have moments where I feel like I could be taken out with the trash and nobody would notice. And I fight really hard to not focus on those thoughts and to continue to battle against those thoughts, because ultimately, what I believe is that God chose me before I was ever created. And in fact, not only did he choose me, he chose to send his son to die for my sins and yours on a cross so that we could spend eternity with him. if we choose to believe. And I think that is one of the reasons that my faith is so important to me, because it's really hard to have people that have no problem with you just walking out of their life, or with them walking out of your life, or just walking away from you. And I mean, I get it. Not everybody's meant to be in your life. Um but one of the reasons that I wanted to do this was because, again, some people think I have all my crap together because I choose to do this, or because I chose to write a book, or because I do speaking engagements, and it's not the case. The reality is, the reason that I do all of these things is because I know what it feels like to not feel wanted. I know what it feels like to not feel loved. I know what it feels like to feel like I'm all alone going through whatever it is by myself. And because I know that pain and I know that hurt, I don't want other people to feel that way, which is why I wrote my book, which is why I do speaking engagements, which is why I choose to do a podcast, which is why I continue to do all of these things and try to reach the right people and make sure that they know you're not alone. Somebody else has struggled with this. Somebody else is struggling with this. Somebody else out there that, went through this is on the other side, and they can tell me that I can get through it too. That's why I do all of this. It's not because I think I'm special, because I can promise you I'll be the first one to tear myself down. I'm the first one to tell you that nobody's going to watch my videos. Nobody's going to watch my posts. If they do, it's going to be, like maybe a handful of people, because I'm invisible, remember? So that's a struggle that I have. But I work on combating that every single day. And I think in some sense, over the last 14 years, I have there's a part of me that has somewhat punished myself, that because I did not believe that I deserved happiness or love, that I've not been in a relationship for 14 years, because either I was working on myself. So there's a period of time where I was truly putting in a lot of work to work on myself, because I didn't think that even if I did get into another relationship, that it would be fair to another individual, as broken and shattered as I was. I had to do a lot of work. On the off chance I ever get into another relationship, it's only fair to myself and to that other individual that I had worked through a lot of trauma that I had never worked through. And so I did that. I've done that over the years, and I've also, proven beyond a doubt that I'm good company. I don't have to be with somebody else. I am absolutely fine being by myself with my dogs and hanging out with a quiet, simple life. I'm absolutely okay with that. And a lot of people can't say that. I don't understand. There's a lot of people out there, and I don't entirely understand it. I had a friend in high school that was this way, and she had to go from relationship to relationship to relationship. There was no grieving period. Even when I knew that she really cared about the guy that she was with, they'd split up. She was immediately with somebody else. Look, I can't even find enough people to be able to make something like that happen. But and so there's a part of me that it amazes me that people are even capable of doing that, to find somebody else so quickly and just move from relationship to relationship to relationship. But the other side of it is you're not healing, and you're not working through anything that you possibly need to. Because I don't believe that you come out of every single relationship in your life absolutely fine and unscathed and walk into another one like it's no big deal. I don't think that's possible. Unless you're, a psychopath or sociopath and you have no feelings, that's different, right? But I would say that, those are not the people that typically need to be with somebody either. Anyway, so this is what I will say. I will say that We all deserve to be happy. We all deserve love. And we all deserve to learn to love ourselves and to work through our trauma and our insecurities, because even if it's not about anybody else, you singularly, you as a person, you deserve to be happy. And if that means alone, then be happy alone. I can be happy alone. Does it mean that I miss being in relationships, or, that I don't occasionally think, hey, it'd be nice to go out on a date, or, to have a companion to come home to, or, yeah, I think about those things. But I'm also very content the way I am. I'm just fine. And I'm happy not being stressed out, not having drama. And I'm okay with that. And I can honestly say that I'm absolutely okay with that. Doesn't mean I'm not open to a relationship. Doesn't mean that I think some days that it would be great to be in a relationship. In fact, I would say within the last 5 or 6 years, I've been most open to being in a relationship. And, I can honestly say that I have truly loved an individual as the human that they are. Has nothing to do with anything physical. Had everything to do with, I love that individual's soul and personality, and how they treated me was the best I'd ever been treated in my life. But we're only friends. So I can say that I've experienced the love that I've wanted, just not in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, right? So if I do end up single for the rest of my life and I'm happy and I'm good and that's fine, then at least I can say, as the saying goes, it is better to love and to have lost than to never have loved at all. And I have loved. Now, was it better or worse, or what was it compared to my 2 marriages? My first marriage I should have never had, ever. Never should have married him. Shouldn't have happened. But it did. Live and learn. Moving on. My second, there's a lot of things that I could have done better. There's things that he could have done better. But we go back to, he didn't care if I walked away. He didn't want to fight for me. And I fought hard. And one person can't fight for a relationship. It doesn't, that's not going to work. If you are out there and you're trying to win somebody over, if you're trying to win somebody back, if you're trying to save your relationship, I can honestly tell you, if you're the only one fighting, it's not going to work. It has to be a two-way street. I even tried Love Dare. I mean, I went through the whole thing, and that's what taught me that this isn't going to work. Because if I'm the only one doing all this work, then what kind of, if he did give us a chance and did come back because of all the things that I was doing, how was that going to benefit me? Because it needed to be mutually exclusive, right? Like, we both had to put forth the effort to work on the things that we needed to work on, have open communication, fix the things that needed to be fixed, like all of those things, but it had to be both of us. And I'd come to grips with that. And it didn't sit well. I mean, I fought really, really hard to try to save my second marriage, and it just didn't. It was a one-way street. So that's life, right? And I think that's one of the reasons that I decided that I needed to do a lot of work on myself. I needed to heal the things that I hadn't healed from in my childhood, in my past, all the trauma and stuff that I had been through. I needed to heal through all of that. I needed to work through it. I needed to understand how it impacts me still to this day. And what I can fix, what I can work through, and what I have to deal with for the rest of my life, and how best to deal with that, if you will. So again, I want to stress, you deserve to be happy. You deserve love. And whatever you're going through, you are absolutely not alone. Okay? And I tell you that because I think it is pivotal that people understand that they are loved, that they deserve to be happy, and that they're not alone. Because the alone part and the love part, those things can lead people to suicide. And I will do whatever I can to share my story and to be vulnerable and real so that one person, two people, three people, however many, because every single individual life is worth saving. And I truly believe that. So I pray that if you need to speak to somebody, that you reach out and speak to somebody. I pray that if there are things that you need to work through, that you actually open yourself up to do those things and understand that it's not weakness. It takes a strong person to be able to work through your issues. It takes a strong person to admit that you have issues, because you can pretend all day long. That's not strength. Strength is owning it and then working through it to make your life better, not for others. That can be an added benefit. That can be a bonus, right? But ultimately, you have to do it for yourself. It's just like with an addiction. You can't quit drinking or doing drugs for other people. It won't stick. Most anybody that's been through any of that stuff will tell you, you have to want to do that because it's a lot of work. And I pray that if that's the case, if that's what you need to do, I pray that you reach out and that you get the help that you need. I pray that you learn that you love just as well as you need to be loved and that you deserve to be happy. Go. I hope that you can share some kindness with others, make a difference, make a positive impact. It doesn't take much. Open a door for somebody, smile at somebody. My goodness, passing somebody and smiling and them just like dead staring you or looking away, just return a smile. It really doesn't take much to be kind to people nowadays. How sad is that? But nonetheless, please go. Have a wonderful evening. I would love to hear any comments if you have any. You're always welcome to leave comments. But other than that, please know I am here always to help as much as I possibly can. Keep smiling, keep breathing. Go and be blessed.